Welcome to the CBS Eye on Money podcast. It is Thursday, August 19th. Now, Mark, after you did your little this is ridiculous that we have to do this tease thing and they don't even put the spots in, I want to let you know that they did put the spot in, but they put the dumbest spot ever in. Not the advertiser, but they did the spot where it was as if I was doing the spot for another show. I know you're not happy.
If you could see me, I've got my head resting on my hand.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, we can't handle all of the aspects of this program, but production people, you wanted the real Jill. Here comes the real Jill. If you're going to actually ask me to voice a spot for my own program, perhaps you don't need me to say, "Hi, it's Jill Schlesinger, CBS News business analyst."
What a train wreck.
I know. I also had a little experience this morning. This is not live. I'm recording this on the morning where I was on CBSN, our streaming network. And in the middle of my hit, 3 different contractors called me because there was a lot of confusion evidently at my house that I did not know about.
I hope you had your phone on silent.
It was silent. I was actually in airplane mode, so that was fine. But I just, clicks up on my phone and I'm like, oh boy, Chip and Jim and Ariel and everyone's got to talk. How about everyone talk together? Anyway, so I feel like sometimes that I am the conductor of an orchestra and I have half of the orchestra in perfect harmony. Everything sounds good. And the other half sounds like, a junior high school orchestra.
Yeah. Well, we can only control what we can control. Thankfully, that part sounds good.
All right, that is good. Okay, so this is the program that tries to take the mystery out of your financial life. The way we do that is we ask you to send us your questions. Just hop onto our website, jillonmoney.com, and hit the contact button. It's the easiest way to do it. And bookmark that particular website because you're going to want to come back over and over and over. You're going to sign up for our free weekly newsletter. You're going to see all the exciting design stuff that we're going to be doing in the next few months. You're going to love it. Fabulous. So we are going to, what are we going to do? We're going to talk about somebody who is asking whether she is saving too much. We're going to do that right after this. And I hope this is a spot where I don't say my own name. All right. You are back. It's Eye on Money. And today we are so delighted because we have Tina, who is on the line from Santa Fe. And Tina, you have a funny question, which is like a weird question to come from somebody young. So tell us about what's on your mind.
Hi. So I'm 28 and my husband is 29. We are making $120,000 a year right now, but then we'll be making a lot more next year, around 300. And so we're
Hold on 1 second. How is that happening? Why are you going from 120 to 300? What's going on?
Well, I am a grad student now, so I make very little. And once I graduate, I will make a lot more. So that's why.
Ooh, congratulations. So you have actually figured out a degree that will pay off in terms of salary. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm going from 26, in stipends to 165.
Oh, very nice. Very, very nice. So tell me a little bit about what caused you to give us a jingle.
Because of such a huge increase in our household income, we're making this big budget for next year. And the main question here is we're trying to start saving for our future kids' 529 accounts. Before we even have kids yet. And so I'm calling to see if, you think that's silly or if we're putting too much money into the 529 accounts.
I think it's kind of funny that you're doing it in advance of actually having children. So tell me a little bit more about what's going on.
We have no debt, no kids yet, but we plan to have 2 to 3 in the future. And we will be moving to Chicago when my new job starts.
And what will that require in terms of cost of living adjustment?
That's going to go up to, $6,000 a month.
That's good. And you can obviously afford it. And what about your contributions to retirement? What are you doing now? And I just want to make sure that we're covering everything. Let's break it out for each of you. And let's pretend you already have this job, right? So not this second, but let's say that today we have you making your 165. What do you plan on putting into retirement?
We plan on maxing out both of our Roth IRAs.
Mm-hmm.
Not IRAs, sorry, 401k, because we won't be eligible for the IRAs.
Right. Okay. So you're going to do 19.5 for each of you, right?
Right.
Okay. And then anything else beyond that you are planning to do?
Not really.
Okay. And what about money that's already been put in savings? How much do you have?
So we have 37k for our emergency reserve, which should cover 6 months of living in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then we have 135k in our bank savings account, and that's for like a whole bunch of like midterm goals.
Tell me about that. What are those?
So there's the house down payment, which is roughly half of this 135. And then we are saving for a car in a few years. And then we have one for our honeymoon, which we didn't get to have because of COVID. And
You
then
got married. Wait a second. You got married amid COVID?
Yes, we did.
This is the second time, Mark. And did you enjoy it? Was it good? You were happy?
It was great. I'm glad I did it.
And
Yeah.
where's the honeymoon going to be?
We're thinking New Zealand.
Ooh.
Interesting.
That's great. Fantastic. Okay. So, but when we think about it, the emergency reserve, let's call it sacrosanct. The 135 between the house down payment, the car, and the honeymoon, that's kind of spoken for. So you're very good savers, right? I mean, really good. Any other money that is anything else, just like fun money, or I don't know what your spouse does for a living, but is there money like in stock plans or anything like that? Any other assets that we've not accounted for?
Yeah, so he doesn't have any real stocks to speak of. It's a startup. But between the two of us, we have two 529 accounts in our own names, and there's 11,000 already in there.
Mark, what do you think about the 529 accounts starting for the kids now? I mean, you're a young parent as well. So I just want to make sure I'm going to check myself and ask you are really the expert in this more so than I.
Yeah, I know quite a few people that have done this, including a friend of mine did this prior to the birth of his son. I don't know. I personally did not feel the need to do that. I'm just wondering, like, if you break it down month by month, what do you think you guys are going to have extra each month?
Actually, like $700 only, and that's why I'm calling, because it seems kind of little.
How much do you think you would want to put into the 529s on a monthly basis?
Right now, the bank rate calculator says we need to put in a little under 2,000 per month.
A month?
Yeah, because she wants to fully fund
For
2 to
kids.
3 college educations, right?
But you're not doing that currently, are you?
No, not yet. But once we start the new jobs, we might.
But when you say you're going to have $700 a month once you have the new jobs and you're putting money into your Roths, and in other words, this is with the new salary. That's what you think you'll have after the cost of living increase. You'll have $700 a month extra. Is that what you're telling us?
Yes.
Is that after you contribute to the 529?
Yeah.
2,000 a month? I don't know. I would have it.
I would too. It's exactly what I thought. I would cut that in half. First of all, we don't know anything about these kids, these yet unborn kids, right? So I think it seems a little bit ambitious to do this in such a big way. And also, I don't know why, but I have this sense that even though you're like, oh, I have money saved for the house, like that whole thing of buying a house, furnishing a house, having a house, getting used to that. Like, I feel like you're going to need a little extra money in the slush fund. And what I would do is if you're telling us, you basically have $2,700 a month that we're talking about, right? I would split it in half. I really would. I would say, if you want to do this, let's do, $1,300 a month would go into 529 plans, and then $1,400 a month would go into let's not call it your midterm goals. Let's call it long-term goals. Like, let's put that into a nice mix of index funds that you could, again, it wouldn't be as aggressive as your retirement accounts, but money that you think you're going to be able to tap sooner, like 5 to 10 years rather than talking about decades in the future. How much money is already in retirement for you guys?
So we have Roth IRAs of 45K combined. And then our Roth 401k through my husband's job, there's 37K in there.
I mean, you got a lot of work to do on retirement. So you're going to fund that. That's going to be great. I would rather you not have all that money tied up in a 529 plan before we know what's going to happen. Maybe you're going to have like the pro football playing scholar oboe player. I mean, I don't know. Like, we don't know who these kids are and what they're going to be. It feels like premature to go crazy with it. Like, I get if you're going to have 2 or 3 kids, even if you started saving an additional $1,300 a month right now, that would be a lot right now. who knows what it's going to be in terms of like, what are your needs going to be once you do have kids? Are you both going to be working? Is there going to be need for some help? I don't know. I feel like you want some flexibility, and you will be robbed of flexibility. Not that you can't get the money, but it's better to have already had it taxed. And certainly I like the idea of building up the midterm goal fund a little bit also, just to make sure that the transition in this move doesn't, maybe surprise you a little bit on the upside. When is the actual move taking place?
December.
If by, 3-6 months into 2022, you have a better sense of your costs and everything that's going on, and you've made the move and everything's done and all that stuff and you've got like, now you're planning your honeymoon, and you really get a sense of like how much of that 135 you're going to need, or whether you're going to need more. I think then I would do the backdoor Roth. I'm okay with them putting a little extra money in the 529. I really am. It's like if it's 13 or 1,000, whatever's easy for you. But I do think having more liquidity as you approach this time in your life, it's so funny. It's like this is the bookend period to retirement. When you're young and you're starting a family, having access to money is incredibly important. And when you're older and getting ready to retire and you no longer have cash flow, it is incredibly important to have liquidity. So this is like the bookend story. In the middle, you can kind of throw money lots of different places, but I think you're going to want to have this liquidity. And I think that you should actually have fun along the way. And I would hate for you to live a life where you're like, wow, this is amazing. We're going from 120 grand a year to $300,000 a year. And all you're doing is scrimping and saving as if you don't have something to celebrate. You're allowed to live and have some fun.
Right.
I know you're not buying that. Wow, Mark, did you hear that? She's like, right. Not really, Jill. Can you give yourself permission for that or not?
Yeah, I can.
Because I feel like that's something that will put some of your financial life in more balance.
You guys are certainly on the right track. So you don't have to have that mentality that a lot of people have, like almost like the FIRE movement that Jill and I have learned to hate.
But it really, I think you guys are in great shape, and that, it's okay to enjoy yourself. It really is. It really is okay. I feel like you guys are like Mark said, you're like on a great path, but it doesn't have to be like this complete black and white, like we save everything or we save nothing. Like, you can do some things, you can have some fun and make a great trip to New Zealand, and you can make this transition and give yourself a little flexibility. And I think you should stay in touch with us, because I have a feeling, Mark, that when the pregnancy occurs, there's going to be a whole rethinking of this, but we're going to have more information by then, right? So that's what we think. Do you guys have wills?
Not yet.
Okay, let's do that. That's easy. And what about life insurance for each of you?
We don't have them yet.
You know what? You're young and you're healthy, and you're going to have kids soon. And while you're young and healthy and you're going to have kids, you know what you could do? You could both get yourselves a 20-year $1 million term life insurance policy for each of you. Bang that out. I mean, the cost is probably going to be like bupkis, like a couple $100 a year. Are you going to buy a house, or are you going to eventually? When is that moment going to be? Like, you're going to say, I'm going to buy a house when? After a year? Or after, like, what are you thinking?
Oh, we're still saving for the house. We're thinking of 6 years. So the 135K is like not done yet. We're putting in like 2,300 each month into like the saving stuff.
And what's the plan for the kids? Same time frame?
Yeah, around the same time frame. We're hoping to buy the house before the first kid has to go to school, just so we get into this good school zone.
Well, if that's the case, I would definitely peel back on the 529 for a few years.
Yeah, me too. I would tell you what, I would look at buying the house sooner rather than later, because rates are really low. Get a sense, like, I'm not saying you have to do it this second, but Chicago's a pretty affordable place for a housing market, considering it's a big city. And I keep my eyes open and start getting a sense of neighborhoods and stuff like that. And I think that the house purchase could occur sooner than 6 years. Just my 2 cents. It's my guess. That's my guesstimate. You might be happy to have that buckled up and done. And yeah, that does argue for pulling back more on the 529.
Oh, that's interesting, because I read somewhere that the housing market is not going to calm down until 10 years later when the supply catches up. So maybe we have to save for even longer.
No, I don't think so. And by the way, Chicago's actually a much more affordable market, and you're making good money there. And I'd start looking, and rates are still low. That's where I come down.
Gotcha.
All right. We are so happy that you joined us. If you would like to be like Tina and come on the air with us, all you need to do is let us know. You can contact us by hopping onto the website, jillonmoney.com, and hit the contact button. While you're there, sign up for a free weekly newsletter, or you can send us an email, askjill@jillonmoney.com. So we thank you very, very much for listening. And oftentimes we're talking about money and saving and all that. I do like to remind you to try to lift somebody else up today. It will make that person feel better. It will make you feel better. It really will. And here at Eye on Money, we've got a nice little mantra for the year: curiosity, compassion, community. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.